Good morning, everybody. It's LaChelle, America's Supermom. We are going to have a guest this morning. Excuse my voice, it's a little scratchy. It's early on the last week of my kids' vacation. So, the topic today is the power within. We are going to be joined by a guest that we were supposed to have, I think, a week ago. But with the technology, we just couldn't make it happen. So we are going to be joining him this morning. And I'm really excited about this topic because um, as we get ready for a new school year, if any of you have kids or grandkids, just being aware that you have your own power to accomplish your goals. And it starts with your mindset. But sometimes just overcoming some of the limiting beliefs and um, moving forward with the things you desire, you can get a little fearful. Anticipation could be very great. Good morning, Caroline. Good to see you. Love those pictures that you posted the other day with the sunset and just the water. That was just gorgeous. If I could be a stowaway and get away there, I would love to right about now. But the power within is such a powerful point that we have is being able to access the things that we desire. So I am not going to do a lot of talking right now. It's that we get him through this morning. All
Hi,
right. Good
LaChelle.
morning. So glad it went off without a hitch.
Okay,
How are you today?
I think you're breaking up. Just let me change my network a little bit. I'll just change my
Okay.
network. Just Ah, yeah, doing great. How about you, LaChelle? I guess you're just starting your day. Am I right?
I'm good. Yes. Just starting my day. So are you ending your day?
Not really. It's around 7 p.m. I work till around 9.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to connect. So, tell everybody before we get started how we got connected for this call and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Uh, uh, my Okay, I'm getting a little feedback. Just give me a moment. Let it get sorted out.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to put my headphones on. That probably will help. Okay, is this better?
Oh, this is definitely better. Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
yeah. About me, well, I'm just yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just a normal human. I'm just a normal human being like everybody, and
Mm.
I started my professional career in way back in 1990.
Oh, okay. Okay, so are you able to hear me okay?
I
Okay,
primarily
guys. Something with this technology. It's sometimes.
Yeah, primarily deal with business optimization. Yeah, I can
Hmm.
hear you. It's just there's just a delay, I think, for some reason for network issues. The network is not really in.
Okay, so you're saying it's just a delay with the network.
Yes, probably,
So,
I can hear
yeah. Now,
myself after 30 seconds. So, that's what is getting me on.
oh, okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, So what I was saying is I deal with business process optimization,
Mm-hmm.
and I also deal with a lot of startups. And apart from that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot more into, coun career counseling and things like that with professional students. So that's a synopsis about me. I mean, I'm not too good at, talking about myself, so I'm sorry if I'm just summarizing everything.
Oh no, that's not a problem at all. You look, you are one of the 1% because a lot of people don't even want to get on video. So you're doing great. Now, so where are you located? Geography
Yeah, I
wise.
am an Indian. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an
Okay, you're in
Indian.
India.
I am located in Philippines right now. I'm in business
Okay.
at Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that just kind of gives everybody a little background to understand. One, there's like a little delay in what we're going through with this technology,
Hmm.
but just the fact that we could be across the world communicating on different
Absolutely,
topics to
absolutely.
me is awesome. So the topic you decided to discuss is the power within, which is
Yes.
such a great topic. Yeah. So I'm sure in your career, you had to really have a strong sense of knowing what your power is.
Hmm.
So what is it that you want to share in terms of the power within, just for us to just dive right in the topic?
Okay. I'll start with a small narrative to start with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every time, I have a client that comes to me, specifically startups, and they say, we figured out this is what we're going to do, and we've all everything sorted out, and this is really profitable and things like that. They have their data in place,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I ask them one question. I understand that you've come across, you've got a great project report and everything, and and this is really good, and if you really do it, it's going to go great guns. But I ask them one question: what are you good at? And
Great
then the
question.
same thing happens with, when we are discussing competitive strategies, core competencies. It's just a one single question: what are you good
Mm-hmm.
at? With career counseling, they say, people are saying that, doing an MBA in this stream is good, or doing an engineering is good, or going in this area is good. One single question: what are you good at?
I love that.
Because in this world of competition, that is one variable which is absolutely constant, and that constant is merciless. We accept it or we don't accept it. Competition is merciless. So the only thing that we can never get beaten in is that one quality or that one thing that we are really good at.
I love that.
So now the question is, how do we figure out like what we are good at? Sometimes, of course, we can figure out, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we get confused because we have peer pressure, we have family pressures, and then we have institutional pressure, we have professional pressure. The most important thing is we have the pressure of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And boiling all that down, then we are in a situation like, we kind of tend to forget what we are good at. And we
Mm-hmm.
get kind of swayed, and after a certain amount of time, then in case if we aren't doing really good, and then we start thinking that am I in the right place?
Right.
So, and and honestly, nobody can be blamed about it because the situation right now, starting from a small kid,
Mm-hmm.
he's under so much pressure of expectation.
Right.
And there is another constant. The one constant I see is competition. There is another
Right.
constant in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what is that, LaChelle? We are all wonderful
Um,
human beings.
I love that.
We are all extremely wonderful human beings. So when we have this kind of expectation set for us, we always feel that
Mm-hmm.
I gotta make my dad and mom happy. I gotta make my teachers happy, and I gotta make
Right.
myself happy and everything. So in this
Mm-hmm.
entire struggle, then what gives rise is stress. What gives
Mm-hmm.
rise is disparity, and then we
Mm-hmm.
have start having all the problems, everything that we endure
Mm-hmm.
day in day out. So
This is so true.
another question is, yes, we can spend the next 5 hours discussing problems, and then we can spend another 5 hours discussing, all the things that is nice to hear and nice to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, what is the solution?
Yes.
What is the
I love
solution?
that.
So the solution is, okay, I'll just put a full stop here, and I'll start with a question. Have you heard of the sacrum bone, LaChelle, which is in our human body?
What's it called?
Is the sacrum bone. I'm sure you must have heard about it. The
Mm-mm.
medical fraternity knows about this.
Okay.
So the sacrum bone. So
Seacrum bone.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure. I
Okay.
mean, it's a bone in our body, in our skeletal system. So why is it called the sacrum bone?
I don't
Sacrum in Greek, it's known as sacred.
know. Oh.
I mean, they figured it out thousands of years back. So why are we having a sacred bone in our body? What is a sacred bone?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's sacred about it?
Right.
Now the next thing is, now if you look at our system, the human system, it's such an
Mm-hmm.
amazingly complicated, advanced mechanism that is going
Right.
inside us.
Right.
And just because we live it day in day out, we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize the magnitude of the complexity that our
Right.
human systems are. And I'm
Right.
sure,
This is true.
one thing is for sure, we aren't running it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something running it, right? So we all know, like,
Right.
so when I say
Mm-hmm.
here, the Heavenly Father created us, and He
Mm-hmm.
created the entire creation.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Lishal, if I may be delaying a little bit because I'm hearing myself.
Oh no, you're fine. It sounds good
Okay,
on our end.
yeah. So Heavenly Father created us, and we have been living for ages as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been going on and on and on and on, and this human cycle is going on and on and on. But we somehow have a tendency to understand that we are in control of everything. But we kind of deviate from the fact in recognizing his the actual power, his actual power.
Right.
So, I was having this conversation once with a young gentleman, and he said, "You know what, Mr. Sanyal, please stop. You know, I don't believe in God, and that's a, that
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem here. I don't believe in God."
Right.
I said,
Okay.
I said, you are absolutely right. You have a problem. You don't believe in God. Because if you don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in God, that's your problem, not God's problem.
Good point.
So basically, sacrum bone is nothing but is the power of God. When we are born, this entire system, now say for example, you have a very advanced cell phone. It does everything in the end
Right.
of it probably, gives a hologram of yours on a con call or things like that. Anything and everything it does. But if you
Right.
take the battery out of it, it doesn't work. So that's with us. So that's
Right.
our power within. That's his power that's within us, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Every single
Mm-hmm.
what is basically, and this
Mm-hmm.
is very simple. It's not complicated. It's very, very simple. We need to first accept it, and then we need to
Mm-hmm.
recognize it. Recognize in the sense, it's kind of give it recognition,
Right.
and then just develop it. And there's no rocket science involved in doing this. It's a very simple thing. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
pure desire. I accept your power is inside me, and with all humility, I
Mm-hmm.
recognize it, and it's my pure desire that it is always
Mm-hmm.
awakened and it guides me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened
That's
is,
awesome.
now this knowledge was there all over the world over centuries. And there were a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sects, a lot of people, a lot of spiritual people who had tried their own way in awakening this power. And many were successful,
Right.
many weren't. So, what
Mm-hmm.
happened is a lot of difficult notions grew around this entire concept of awakening your power
Mm-hmm.
inside. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing is very wonderful about our world is whenever there is something difficult, there is always a business
Mm-hmm.
about it. So it became a business as well. In 1970, uh, a Christian lady in India, her name was Dr. Nirmala Srivastava. She was well
Mm-hmm.
known as Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi. In
Mm-hmm.
1970, on the 5th of May, she gave the entire world a very simple process that you can awaken this power.
Mm-hmm.
And to cut the long story short, what happened is in a lot of interviews, she was asked, like, why don't you charge anything for this? She named this process Sahaja Yoga. It's actually an Indian term. And I'll break
Okay.
this term. The word Sahaja means something that you're born with. Like you're born with a heart, you're born with hands.
Right.
So,
Okay.
it's something that you're born with. And
Mm-hmm.
yoga actually, now we know yoga as breathing exercises or physical exercise
Right.
or different, but it's something like the actual meaning of yoga is connection. Like for example,
Ah,
water.
okay.
Now we have mineral water, we have
Mm-hmm.
spring water, we have sea water, we have a lot of waters all over.
Right.
But water basically. So yoga is
Right.
basically connection. So
Okay.
you get connected with a power that you're born with. So that's Sahaja Yoga.
Okay.
So it's a very simple process with all
Mm-hmm.
humility. Now, the most important thing is humility. And LaChelle, humility here means the first thing. Because when we are trying to awaken the power of the Lord inside us,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the most basic thing that we need to have is a clean heart.
Okay.
And a clean heart is very simple. All we just need to say with complete humility is, "Oh Lord, I forgive everybody and I forgive
Mm-hmm.
myself."
All right.
And that's actually in all reality a very difficult thing. That's another reason why we have a lot of stress in our lives. We
Mm-hmm.
don't forgive easily, nor do we forgive ourselves. So at least, when
Right.
we are in the process, when we want to meditate, we just sitting, and it's a very
Mm-hmm.
simple thing. There's no posture. You don't have to stand on one leg.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stand upside
Mm.
down. You don't have to get up early in the morning, run up to the top of the mountain, so that you're nearer to,
Right.
to heaven. Nothing like that. Wherever you are,
Right.
wherever you are,
Right.
just spread your hands
Mhm.
and just deep inside
Right.
your heart, at least for those
Mhm.
30 seconds or at least those 15 seconds
Right.
that you really want to meditate, you really believe it inside your heart, you feel it inside your heart, and you mean it
Mhm.
inside your heart when you say, Lord, I forgive everybody, including myself,
Mhm.
and with all
Mhm.
humility and pure desire, I want you to awaken my power, your power inside me. Try it, Rachel.
Right.
Rachel, tomorrow morning, anytime, even in the afternoon while doing lunch. There's no time for this. See, the very question
Okay.
is, somebody asked,
Right.
somebody asked Her Holiness Shri Mataji, what is the best time? She said, what
Mhm.
time do you are looking for? You're getting connected to your Heavenly Father, your Creator. So, I mean, do
Right.
you need a red carpet or do you need a schedule or a timetable? And
Absolutely.
another
Yeah.
thing she was asked is, Mother, why don't you charge money?
Mhm.
She said, who will you pay money to? Find out who are you going to pay the money to? It's
Right.
his power, it's inside you, it's your
Mhm.
desire. So who are you paying the
Right.
money to? Because she said money is a very important factor when it comes to valuing something. Because right now we
Right.
value everything against money. But God's
Mhm.
power inside us, you cannot value it with money.
Right.
So it's a very simple process. Just spread your hands, do it, and you will
Mhm.
actually, the question is, now it's just not that I just said it and it happens. No, you would actually
Right.
feel it on your nervous system. Now, what are these nervous systems is? You must have heard in the medical science something called plexus. We have seven
Mhm.
plexuses in our body.
Mhm.
The first plexus
Mhm.
controls our reproductive system. The second one controls our lower abdomen. The third controls our upper
Mhm.
abdomen. The fourth controls our heart, respiratory system. The fifth controls our locomotory system, your nose, and throat. The sixth controls our brain. And the seventh is the limbic area, where
Mhm.
998 nerves, the nerve endings, get conglomerated. Now, each
Okay.
plexus has a nerve ending on our hand. Now, the first plexus is here.
Mm.
The second one is here.
Mhm.
The third one
Mhm.
is here. The fourth one
Mhm.
is here. The fifth here. The sixth here. And, the limbic area, the nerve ending is here. So, when you meditate and when you do this
Wow.
meditation, you would actually feel that
Mm.
the power awakens. You start feeling cool breeze on the palm of your hand or on the top of your head.
Wow.
So this is
Mm.
an answer for all those people, who say, and now, LaChelle, I'll leak out a secret to you today. I was one of them.
Okay.
I was one of them who said that I don't believe in God because I have not seen him.
Right. Right.
And I was one of them 23 years back.
Mhm.
And I know for a fact every single day when I meditate, any moment of the day I meditate, is my nervous system truth. His power awakens inside me. And all the scriptures have this thing written, the Bible talks about the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost, the Quran talks about Ruh, the Bhagavad Gita
Mhm.
talks about Param
Mhm.
Chaitanya. So ages and ages and ages it has been talked about this, that his blessings come in this form.
Mm.
And Shri Mataji in 1970 made this easy
Right.
for everybody, that you don't have to leave your home, you don't have to stop doing your duties. You do a family,
Right.
you build, you do your profession,
Mhm.
you do everything, but meditate every day and awaken this power inside you. And you can visit the
Mhm.
website www.sahajayoga.org to know more about the meditation, how you can
Okay.
proceed with it. So, well, my intention here today, I thought about, talking more on business startups and primarily
Right.
startup people, but I cannot, because once you have enjoyed this, and I
Yeah.
just can't stop myself from sharing this over and over and over again. I mean, I don't know how many, thousands and thousands of people have shared this with, and so many people have had, their
Right.
lives changed. And and it is, and another
Mm-hmm.
thing, a notion that we have is meditation, or when you're talking about God, that's a different sector. Business, profession, studies,
Mm-hmm.
these are practical things. But the fact
Right.
is, everything is sourced to Him. And when you do this
Right.
meditation, when you do this meditation, what happens is, every time when we meditate, the power, it awakens and it passes through all the plexuses, and it gets connected to His all-pervading
Mm-hmm.
power. And due to everyday meditation, the plexuses, they get nourished. So actually,
Mm.
now, LaChelle, would you believe it? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So LaChelle, so LaChelle, if you, I don't know whether you would believe it. Uh, no blood pressure, no blood sugar,
Mm-hmm.
no ailments,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
no ailments. Just, and this is not a miracle. The fact
Mm-hmm.
is, these plexuses get to those plexuses. The qualities that are connected to those plexuses, they get nourished every day. That's how we develop, keep on developing inside. Every day, continuously, we keep on developing. So be it,
Mm-hmm.
a businessman or a startup guy or a student or a professional, anybody in any sphere of life,
Mm-hmm.
it's a wonderful life ahead waiting right there. And this is one thing which is really not too good to be true. It is true, and it is really very good.
That is awesome. Very good. Now,
Choice
so
that
you
we have to
said
make.
this
And yes,
happened for you, this changed,
23 years
right?
back.
Right.
Okay, I was hearing myself. You asked a question, right?
Yeah, so I was saying 23 years back when you made this change, what was going on in your life before you decided to make that change, and what did that look like on that day, or what event occurred to change your mindset?
Michelle, honestly, you wouldn't want to know what I was 23 years back.
Mhm.
Okay, just a few basics.
Okay.
No direction in career.
Mhm.
Smoking around 40 to 45 cigarettes a day.
Wow. Okay.
Alcohol was a part of life. Uh, all the wrong people I was associated with.
Mhm.
So in a nutshell, everything wrong.
Right.
So, at this stage of time, I just had one day I was just sitting and I had just one question. I mean, because 23 years back I was quite young, so I was just starting off. So
Right.
I said, where am I going? I mean, what am I doing?
Mhm.
Because this is not. Uh, I mean, this something about this is not right.
Right. Right.
So believe me, Lachelle, I actually had this desire inside me that I need to break away.
Mhm.
India then. So
Mhm.
I, one of my neighbors, used to call her auntie. She treated me like a son. So, in India we have a lot of different customs. We have house, and she said, you know what, if you get time, just come over in the evening. Just called in a few people. We'll have food together and things like that. So when I went
Mhm.
over, she said, and it was something, and this thought process of mine that I had, I need to break away. I need a solution. I
Mhm.
really need a solution. This was happening sometime, probably a day or two before. So
Okay.
naturally, I went over in the evening, and I was just sitting, and we were talking. And she said, "You look very troubled." I said, "Yes, Auntie, I'm really, really very troubled, and I have no idea what is happening. Where am I going?" So I said, you know what? Sometimes I feel I know I need to join an organization, go somewhere, and just be away from the world. So she said, you know what? Read it. If you think it makes sense to you, come and talk to me about it. So that day, she handed over me the booklet of Sahaja Yoga,
Mhm.
the meditation that I'm talking to you about. Now, as I told
Okay.
you, LaChelle, I was not a
Mhm.
believer in God. So I took that booklet,
Mm.
but for some reason, I actually I don't know, or perhaps I know now that for some reason in normal circumstances I would take that kind of a book and I would say thank you, but no thanks. But for some
Right.
reason I took that booklet. Uh,
Mhm.
I had food, we chatted around with our family, and then I went back home. The book was with me. She said, you know, this is I do this meditation, and
Mhm.
we just sit like this. She just didn't tell me anything actually because she kind of knew my lifestyle, so she knew I don't need to tell him too much. What if he says something offending? Because that's how I
Right.
was then. So she just gave me the book,
Mhm.
and she said it's your choice. If you like it, and if you don't like it, return it to me tomorrow. But I would
Mhm.
insist that you read it once. So I went back home. I read, and I found something that Her Holiness Shri Mataji had said, and that is something that caught on to me. That is, you have to remember you are your own master.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, and this made a lot of sense to me. I said, you're my own master, and
Mhm.
then I went through it, and I didn't know how to do that. So I just sat, and
Mhm.
that day I realized the power of pure desire of a useless then a useless human being, but nevertheless a human being.
Mm. We're having a little delay, guys. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And I realized the power of a each and every human being can get that boon right then, right there. It's just about the pure desire. And then subsequently, I went ahead and I went deeper into Sahajayoga. I went deeper into meditation. And one concept became very clear to me. That concept is the difference between
Mhm.
spirituality and religion. Today, I completely know one thing
Spirit.
that
Yeah.
God created spirituality and He gave it to us.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I got disconnected, I think. And as the story goes on, everybody.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what it is. This is spirituality, nothing to do with
Mhm.
religion. So it doesn't have to
Mhm.
do anything with any
Mhm.
religion, any country, any caste, any creed, anything. This is only to do with human beings.
Right.
So that's what the story about the inner power is. That's what I have experienced, and I keep on sharing. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
restricted, it's just not
It's a little delay, guys. I'm not sure if he's going to come back this time, though.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
hear
No
me now?
worries. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not restricted to your health, your well-being, your
Mm-hmm.
social well-being.
Mm-hmm.
It's to do with everything. You know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
academic life, professional life, business. Awaken inside you, everything right happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know the things,
I
the
love that.
different decisions that we take. A lot, yeah. You know what is success? Like, this is something that I share a lot when I have these session with the professional students and stuff like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody talks about how to succeed. Plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. There are different ways to
Mm-hmm.
succeed, but the basic thing of success is whether I know what I'm doing first. I need to know what I'm doing first. Second
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
whether I know what to do about it. When these two things are taken care of, the rest is not a very hard job. And so
Right.
to understand that, it's very important that I know myself. It's extremely important
Right.
that I know myself. And I know myself
Mm-hmm.
from exactly what I am, not from somebody else's eyes.
I love
Not from
that.
the eyes of the society, not from the eyes of my college, not
Mm-hmm.
from the eyes of my business associates, not from the eyes
Mm-hmm.
of expectations, what
Mm-hmm.
I really am. So when I know
Mm-hmm.
that, the rest of the journey is extremely easy. And
Mm.
it's not a metaphor, it's a reality that the rest of the journey is
Right.
really easy. We just have to know ourselves. We just
Right.
have to know ourselves.
I love that. Now, so you were saying how it doesn't take it's not anything that happens overnight. There's a little time before you kind of really come into your own with this process. So, for somebody who wants to start this
Mhm.
and, with this mindset, what would be a realistic time frame for them to notice a change and in their life, so to speak?
LaChelle, yeah, I am not exaggerating if I say instantly, because
Mhm.
let's say it's an effort and a result. Let's look at it this way.
Right.
Now I start
Mhm.
the meditation, that's my effort, and then I look at a result.
Mhm.
Now the result is directly proportional to the desire in which I'm doing it. If I'm really,
Right.
really honest and sincere about it,
Mhm.
the most important thing is the fact that you're in meditation and you're connected, you can feel instantly. Now, just for example, you
Mhm.
spread your hands, and then just
Mhm.
deep inside your heart, just for 5 seconds, you just
Mhm.
say, and you mean it from
Mhm.
your heart: Lord, I forgive
Mhm.
everybody, and I forgive myself.
Mhm.
What has happened before this
Mhm.
moment is of no consequence, because right now it's my
Right.
desire to be connected to you. That's it. So you just spread your
Right.
hands, and deep inside your heart, just say this: I
Mhm.
really, really forgive everybody.
Amen.
Even the person, I'm just giving an example. I don't mean that, but even a
Mhm.
person, if you think that I wish I get that guy, or I get that person.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. Right.
You forgive
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and then you forgive
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then just say, I just desire your power to awaken inside me.
Mm-hmm.
And just desire it, like a very small child
Mm-hmm.
desires from his mother or
Mm-hmm.
her father or
Mm-hmm.
his father. That's exactly how you desire it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you really desire it, you will see that you are thoughtless. You stop thinking, and you can actually feel some sensation on your fingers or on your. It'll happen on your nerve endings, nowhere else.
Right. Okay.
You'll feel something on the palm of your hand or on the tip of your fingers
Mm-hmm.
or on the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
So it's as simple. It is as simple as this. There is no condition, there is no religion, no religious norms, no social norms, no,
Mm-hmm.
no provincial norms, nothing. It's just a direct
Right.
relationship with Him. You do it and
Wow.
you would feel it on the palm of your hand. As simple as
Mm-hmm.
that. And when you develop more into this meditation, and Lachelle, even I can do this session on some other day when we have a lot of people online, and probably your life
Yeah.
somewhere, you're practically somewhere. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to put this video on the projector, and the 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people can do this together. And it's just a simple,
Right.
they get connected to the God they know, because the problem is we know our God. That is
Right.
the biggest problem. We don't know the God,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually the reality. But
Right.
unfortunately, we have made that reality into our God.
This
Whereas
is
actually,
true.
there it's
This is
the
true.
God, the Heavenly Father, the Heavenly Father. So
Right.
we can
Right.
just do it. Maybe 50, 20, 50,000, 100,000 people can be together, and it's because it's
Right.
that's the truth. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need a system.
Right. We keep getting a delay with the internet. So not sure if he's gonna come back. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. The
Okay.
internet is not the best here, so I have a
Oh,
trying
no
time.
worries.
But that's okay. But that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're glad that we were able to connect this time because the last time it just wasn't working out. So that's awesome.
Yes, yes.
I love the thing
Yeah.
about the effort and the result. That's just awesome. The effort you put into it versus the result that you get. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you
So,
just said this has
just
just helped you.
mhm.
You did okay. So this has helped you health wise, relieve stress, and no ailments, all these things as a result of meditation and just connecting
Yes,
with the one true God on a daily
yes,
basis. Now, so
and actually, and this is scientific because, as I told you, this energy, whenever you meditate, it awakens, and it passes through all the plexuses. So when that pure energy
mhm,
passes through the plexuses, it removes all the negative energy, negative energy inside those plexuses. So gradually, you would see that
mhm,
your health is improving. The disorders, the medical disorders that you had, they are gradually, going away, and a lot of things, are changing uh, for the better,
mhm.
and you're being able to apply yourself professionally better, because there are a lot of qualities that were inside, you, that are just coming out, and
Wow.
they are just coming out, and you're being able to do the right thing at the right time. Actually, if you say
Mm,
in one word, what is the secret of success? doing the right thing at the right time. You are completely capable of doing that.
I like that.
Doing the right thing at the right time, because
Mm-hmm.
all your qualities are right there, and you have his guidance. So and it's a very spontaneous process. Everything happens very spontaneously, and in a very
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous state, you end up achieving everything.
I love that.
So that's, and a very simple
Mm-hmm.
thing I want to say at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They say that when you're in connection with a very powerful person, you feel kind of okay. No,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm sorted. This guy is really. Say, for example, I know the president. Okay, now the president knows me by the name. I'm sorted.
Right.
So imagine what happens when you're connected with God,
I love that.
and that's
That's a great point.
and that's a reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's an absolute reality, and you can experience it right today. I told you the website, to know more about this,
Mm-hmm.
more in details. I'll type it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can share it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll type it
Okay.
in Messenger, and I'll send it to you so that you can go into the website and see more. And of course, any questions you
Awesome.
have, I'm always there. And that's what it is, the power inside.
I love that. Now, so one of the things that we discussed in the beginning is you have that one question that you ask your clients, what is it that you're good at,
Mhm.
or the organization?
Mhm.
What usually happens when you're asking them that question? Do a lot of them know, or what happens with that? Bear with us, guys. This is the internet. He's in the Philippines. So let me see if we're able to get him back. It keeps cutting off and then coming back in. So we'll. Good morning to everybody, and it kicked them completely out. Mika, Theodis, Tia, just want to thank you guys. Not sure if you guys are still watching. Great topic. We had Sabati, who was on, and he was sharing with us the power within. He ended up getting disconnected, but just the whole mindset that you have a power within you that you can unlock yourself. It doesn't matter about where you're located, geography wise, or, whether you're male or female. The power lies within us. And the connection is with God. And he said 23 years ago, his life was on a different turn. He was going in a different direction. He was, you know, um, doing things that where everything was wrong, and he was unable to unlock this power within himself. And he did that through acknowledging God and his place in his life. And something just as simple as he said, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. You first forgive others, then you forgive yourself. And a lot of times when we don't have that forgiveness in our life, it's as if it's poison in our system. And so we have to be mindful of what are some poisons that we have in our system? What are some things that we're holding on to that don't serve us? What are some people that are outside of us that we're holding on to that are not moving us in the direction that we want to go? These are some of the questions that we want to ask ourselves. What is it that I'm doing to help move myself forward? And what is it that I'm not doing? Really taking the time to ask yourself those questions, because we have the ability to do this within our own state of mind, our own thought process, and the things that we do. And a lot of times we look outside of ourselves, we blame other people, we blame circumstances, situations, but we have to really take that accountability for ourselves. What are we doing to create the life that we want? Or what are we not doing? How many times are we allowing fear to stop us dead in our tracks when it comes to pursuing and leveling up and doing something different? Okay, we're going to see if we can get him back on really quick because I was curious about this question that he asked a lot of his business acquaintances that come to him for his direction when it comes to business. How they answer a question. He asked them one question: what are you good at? And a lot of times, this I know in my case, dealing with prior to being depressed, was I didn't know that answer. I was so busy doing stuff for other people, um, making sure my kids are okay, not really having that time to self reflect and think about what it is that I bring to the table. I had so many different irons in the fire, so to speak. And sometimes just being in touch with ourselves and asking ourselves just one simple question, I didn't know the answer. I didn't even have time to think a lot of times about what it was that I can do in order to improve my situation. So you have to be mindful of the fact that um, if you have times when you ask yourself a simple question and you can't add it, that's a sign that you need to really reflect and think about what is going on so much that I can't even answer a simple question. How can I get rid of some of this stress, this extra anxiety, this overwhelm? What is it that's putting me in this state? And take proactive action and begin to work on getting things in order. Because it's not going to happen by accident, by chance. It's something that we have to plan in order to incorporate in our day. We have to have daily check ins. And I know for me, it used to be that I had to have hour check ins because it had gotten so bad for me. So, checking in, hey, how am I feeling right now? Can I think? Am I overwhelmed with a lot of thoughts? And sometimes that happens. Sometimes we can't sleep, our mind is racing. So important about pen and paper. Get some paper and a pen and begin writing. Begin taking the opportunity to get some of these things out of your head so that you can kind of think clearly and that you can begin to have some clarity and focus about what it is that you want to do. So he's saying that he thinks it's the internet that's not allowing him to get back on. It keeps spinning on my side saying adding, but it doesn't allow him to connect. So I just think that's really good that we kind of have those check-ins and think about what is it that I'm feeling, not ignoring those feelings. A lot of times we suppress them and we think, well, nobody else is doing this, or I got to do this. I have to accomplish this. I don't really have time to check in with myself or to do something different, or I don't know how. And so it's easier just to keep going in survival mode and not thinking about the things that we can move forward and do. So, Sabati is saying that you're already on the broadcast, so you might have to totally get out of Facebook, exit out, and then come back in and then see if it works again. So he just brought up some great points about, meditation and what it has done in his life. He had ailments and everything before he started meditating. And, the point that he brings out is we have so many different things that we serve, or so many things, pressures in our life that we're trying to maintain. We want to do good for our kids. Our kids want to do good for their parents, for their teachers. We all go through this pressure of the expectation of trying to do everything right or good, or, have everybody happy with the results that we do. But it comes from unlocking our own power and thinking about knowing who we are, and we are able to have a better platform to be the best version of ourselves. And the way we do that is connecting with what's already inside of us, how we already were born as wonderful human beings. This is everybody. It doesn't matter where you're located geography wise, anywhere in the world. We're already wonderful human beings. And this is so important because a lot of times we miss that. We forget that. We get into this comparison trap of thinking that, we're not worth something because we look at another individual who does a particular role better than us, so we feel. And so we begin to devalue ourselves. But we all are valuable. We're already born that way. And it's just a matter of tapping into what it is that we're good at. So, for example, one of the things I just use with fruit, if I'm an orange and somebody else that I compare myself as an apple, you know, the world is so much richer because we have oranges and apples. So there's never going to be a way that I could be an apple if I'm an orange. So when we compare, we think that we could change completely who we are to look like someone else. And we're thinking that we're the same. But there are things that are different that we're not aware of based on the energy and the ability that we have to connect with other people. So, yes, we might both be fruits, but we have a different angle that we are perceived, and we lose who we are when we are trying to be someone else. And so the world is rich because we all have differences. So you could have a whole. Okay, here he is. All right. The
But I
power of
managed to come
perseverance.
come into you through my wife's account. She was online as well, so I got a phone.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
So coming to your question,
Yes, no
yeah,
worries.
coming to your question.
Mhm.
So what happens is when I ask this question, they have their project. But I'll tell you the process how it goes.
Mhm.
A normal when there's an appointment and they come in
Okay.
and we shake hands and there's the pleasantries and would you like to have coffee and tea and they sit down. This is the project report,
Right.
and I go through the project report. Initially, I just go through the synopsis and
Mhm.
then I keep the project report aside. And this is exactly how it happens every time. And I tell them that what is your core competency?
Mhm.
Probably, what I have in front of me is a restaurant project or an iron, or a factory or, coking coal or anything for that matter. So I just ask
Mhm.
them, what is your core
Mhm.
competency? What are you
Mhm.
best at?
Mhm.
Because in competition, you just cannot be good enough. You have to be the best. So what are you
Right.
best at?
Mhm.
And every time it so happens, there's a very long pause. And that is the time I realize, LaChelle, that that a successful business model
Mhm.
is just slipping away from coming into the limelight. Because the person who is coming along with the project report is
Mhm.
committed to doing this particular business because the person thinks this is the best thing to do,
Right.
not because she or he is the best in it. Not always. Yeah, I have
Mhm.
had instances where they say, I do best what is right in front of you. And that's why I'm doing it. And I enjoy these answers because for a change, there's someone who knows, yes, I'm best at this.
Right.
But 80%, 90% of the cases, unfortunately, uh, it's the other way around because then but because I have something called a promoter's appraisal. Especially in
Mhm.
startups, I do something called a promoter's appraisal, where
Mhm.
I purposely do this, which just to make a person aware that this is where you stand. There is a certain matrix, and based on
Right.
questions and answers, and it comes right in front that this is exactly how suitable you are to the project, and this is your degree of correlation with the project that you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and that's very troubling for people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because today I have, I have my investors, I have my report, I have project, I have a mental commitment to what I'm trying to do, and then suddenly
Right.
I realize I don't correlate with that. It is something
Right.
like that. I know I just have to go back and start from scratch. But then the best part of it is when they understand that it's better they do it in stuff that they are the best in.
Mm.
And you know why there's a data that goes around the world that 99% of startups fail or something like that. There was a business
Right.
conference going on, and I heard this one gentleman coming up and giving this data. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact is, the rest of the data did not reach me because that particular data told me that you know the reason, and I knew the reason. So, and that's the fact. So it's all boils
Mm-hmm.
down to the fact that what I am best in.
Right.
So, and interestingly, somebody asked me a question. So, you're a management consultant. So, you deal with, so for you, it's just a project. So, you are basically not committed to one particular thing. So, you deal with a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in fact, somebody asked me, you with this kind of knowledge, you could have easily started your own industry, your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So, I said, no, my passion is emancipation. So, in emancipation can be in business, can be in profession, can be for human beings. So that's
Right.
why I enjoy my profession as a management consultant
I see.
because my passion is emancipation, and that's
Right.
one thing that I can do best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can change things for the better. So so I'd rather be, and so that's why I enjoy being a consultant.
Right.
So maybe it apparently makes a lot of sense for me to be concentrated in one particular type of a business, and probably that would be successful, given the fact that the kind of advice or the knowledge that I share with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, my passion is not that. My passion is this, what I'm doing right now.
I love that. Yeah.
And so there are
Now, so when
and there are a
people,
lot of courses that again, peer pressure,
mm-hmm.
family pressure.
Mm-hmm.
In my
Right.
student days, there were a lot of professional courses that I had to enroll because my father wanted to see me as that, or my family
Right.
wanted to see me as that. Believe me, Lachelle, I just couldn't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up
Mm-hmm.
incomplete in all of them because I was not good at them.
Right.
But I completed each and every one of all those professional courses which I knew I was good at.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
it's not a shame, that I don't know drawing, but I can sing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing to be ashamed of that I don't know drawing.
Right.
But
Right.
I can sing and I can cook. And one more important thing I want to share today with everybody, whoever is listening
Mm-hmm.
today,
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, there's no shame in doing anything if it is done right and with honesty.
Right.
I can be a great cook. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that if I have to start a business, I need to start a business of, something which is glamorous or something. I am a great cook. I can start a restaurant because I can do that
Right.
best.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, my success is going to carry me across, not the peer
I
pressure,
love that.
not the peer pressure or what
Mm-hmm.
people are expecting of me.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Now, so for people who find out that this might not be the right fit, you could have somebody watching today and they're like, you know what, that could be it. I mean, my job that I'm doing, I'm just not doing the right one. Or I'm suppressing my voice because there are things that I want to do that I'm not doing. I'm
Hmm.
afraid what people are going to say. My family, what advice would you give them in that situation?
Just do what you are best at, because I'll tell you the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, this is a very simple thing. It's all in our minds, but we just
Mm-hmm.
don't think about it. The fact is,
Mm-hmm.
we do a lot of things that we are not good at just to make sure that we carry ourselves across,
Right.
and then we kind of settle down to the fact that okay, fine, I'm doing it. I'm doing good. It's okay. I'm doing this job. I'm getting paid. I'm paying my bills.
Right.
And then
Right.
the entire thing boils down and settles down to that level. and then we start doing things just to survive. We stop doing
Right.
things to excel.
I like that.
So, if when the question of excellence comes,
Mm-hmm.
when the question of excellence comes, survival is a given.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Survival is a given. You don't have to worry about survival, because the fact that I have resolved to do what I am best at automatically defines the fact that I am already a survivor. And right now, what I'm
I love
fighting is I'm
that.
fighting to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
But again, LaChelle, on being very honestly, it's easier said than done, because different people in the
Oh
world
yeah.
have faced different pressures, face different things. They have different responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, you need strength. You need a lot of strength.
Right.
So my
Mm-hmm.
contention to this entire thing, when somebody tells me, Shubhopati, people have their own struggles, people have their own problems, people have everything. Not everybody has the strength. And that is where I
Mm-hmm.
contend. Okay, fine. You have access to the most that's the inner strength that I just discussed with you, Michelle, that everything,
Mm-hmm.
the entire process of meditation, you have the solution, you have the way, you have the answer.
Right.
What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Why aren't we taking
Right.
that leap?
Right. Mm-hmm. I
Struggle,
love that.
struggle. Michelle, it's something like a very very knowledgeable person had said this, that you know if you are born poor, it's not your fault, but if
Mm-hmm.
you die poor, it's your fault.
Okay, I like that.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not me, it's somebody I had read. It's a some very important person had said this.
Right.
So these are certain choices that we have to make, and competition is there. Nobody will show any mercy to me today. No
Right.
matter how
Right.
nice I am, how many cups of coffee I treat somebody to, but the world is not nice to me. And it's
Right.
not the fault of the world, Michelle, because the world also has to survive along with me.
Right. Right.
So in this entire
Mm-hmm.
concept of competition, such a stiff competition, I can only survive if I know that one thing that I do best.
Right.
Because what I do best is not just about my capability. Success
Mm-hmm.
does not just come with capability. It comes with, when I know something that I do best, I can innovate, I can improvise, I can think out of the
Mm-hmm.
box, because it's something called domain knowledge. My knowledge about what I am doing
Right.
is so much that there is no limit to what I can think and improvise, and be
That's a good point.
spontaneous about when I'm applying
Yes.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it exactly is.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That is so true, because, things that come, it's like it comes easy for you, but it's because it's your strength. And,
Yes,
where it's easy for you, but other people are like, how are you doing that? Because it's something you're good at. I love that.
exactly, exactly. That's exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so it builds your confidence and everything over time.
Yeah,
But I know
absolutely.
that there's so many people who are on the fence about these things and they want to take that leap and they're scared. So what would you tell them to, of course you need to do what you're good at, but for somebody who has that job and they need that income or whatever the case is, what would be something that you would have them implement so they can get started on that journey?
Okay. Now, say for example, now a person probably has a lot of responsibilities, a lot of financial responsibilities, and that job
Mhm.
is really, really important, but the person is not really happy doing that job, but he
Mhm.
has to do it or she has
Mhm.
to do it because she really needs that money. Now
Right.
the question is that is not stopping her for trying to figure out what she's really good at,
Okay.
and she can get started. It doesn't mean that, entrepreneurship does not have a size.
Mm.
Entrepreneurship does not have a size.
Mhm.
It can be big and it can be so tiny. But what
Right.
is important, it has to start. It can start with
Mm.
one small service or one small job or a one very, very small, insignificant client.
Mhm.
But it's a start. When that start happens, that's what is important.
Mhm.
This is not a precondition that, if I have to do something which I am best at, I decide that, okay, I am bold and then I become irresponsible. No, it does not mean that.
Right.
But the fact is, if I am doing that job, then I shall not complain. But if I have reasons to
Mm.
complain, what am I doing about it?
Right.
What am I doing about it? Am I taking that effort to figure out my entire schedule of the day? Am I spending 1 hour of time with myself and trying to
Mhm.
figure out this is what I'm best at? What can I do about it?
Mhm.
And am I taking that step to do that very small, insignificant action, so to say? But actually, that's the most
Mhm.
significant action that can happen in a human being's life. But apparently, from a bigger perspective, from the world perspective, that's a very
Mhm.
insignificant step. But I'm taking that step all the same. And probably
Right.
there's just one very small client that I catered to, and then I realized that, man, I really did it well.
Mm.
And that's very small, insignificant client has that smile on the face, reassuring the fact that yes, when I do something that I'm really good at, this is what happens. And that one
Right.
becomes two, and that two becomes three, and that when that three becomes 30, that is the time I can say that, but I should thank that job that gave me the power to
Right.
dream this.
I love that.
It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that if I don't like a job, that means that job is not the right thing in my life. No, definitely not. These, these,
Right.
these are things that are given by God, LaChelle. God gives us a
Mhm.
lot. He's got everything set for us. But you know what?
Mhm.
This is what I have understood and conceived throughout my life now.
Mhm.
He just waits for us to take the right choices.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when we do that, really sky is the limit.
Right.
Really, really sky is the limit.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the my what I would only suggest is, if somebody has a job that somebody does not like, spend an hour, just 1 hour.
Right.
Take a cup of coffee or a pineapple juice, uh, and sit down. That's my time. That's my time with myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I have that job, it's already there, and I'm getting my salary, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm okay, and whatever, even if I don't like it, I'm doing
Right.
it. So I'm doing it. That's done.
Right.
So that's not a problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let me think about the problem. What is the problem? Problem is I'm not thinking what I can do best.
Right.
And then I sit and decide what I can do best. Okay, fine. This is what I can do best. Let me do this. I'll not disturb my job.
Mhm.
I'll not disturb anything.
Mhm. Right.
I'll not disturb my responsibilities, but I'll do this. And let me see what happens.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. That's awesome. And there's so much liberation that you can get from that because
Absolutely.
you see that you could think out of the box. You begin to build your confidence.
Yes.
Things grow organically that you didn't really start out with a game plan of thinking. So it gives
Right.
you extra momentum. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
awesome. Now, so what are some things that you do in your daily routine to keep you grounded to remember to use your strengths and stay in that mindset?
LaChelle, first thing is I get up in the morning, and the first thing is I meditate. Okay, now meditation
Mm-hmm.
is not exactly an action, it's actually a state of mind. Meditation is when you're
Mm.
thoughtless. So
Mm-hmm.
it might so happen that I'm in a client meeting and I'm meditating, but I'm speaking to the
Mm.
client, I'm talking to the client. So, it's like just being thoughtless. Because when I'm thoughtless, what happens is, in thoughtlessness, neither my ego works, neither my conditions work. So
Mm.
I'm in a very balanced state of mind to apply myself. So normally what I
Mm.
do is, uh, one thing is, one thumb rule that I remember, that he is the doer and he is the enjoyer.
Mm-hmm.
I remind myself always, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
right from the morning
Mm-hmm.
till the time I go to sleep, he is the doer and he is the enjoyer. So
Mm.
no matter what I have achieved, or I think I have achieved,
Right.
it doesn't really matter. Because it's something like, if I am doing something good that I'm enjoying doing, he's happy.
Mm.
Like, tell me something, LaChelle, like when you see your children, they're really happy because
Mm-hmm.
they've done something. How do you feel?
I feel a lot of joy and excitement right along with
That's
them.
exactly what
Yeah.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what's important is I just make sure, I will not deny the fact that there are not stressful moments, there are not negative people, sometimes around. And the question
Right.
is, when there's negativity around, we just don't need to react to it.
Right.
It's not important to react. It's not that, when there's a negativity, we have to react and let it know that we don't like it.
Right.
It's our internal preference. It's just that,
Mm-hmm.
we just need to understand that, it's something like we have to be like oil and water.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just like, we are in oil, but in water, but it doesn't touch us. And it can only touch us if we react to it.
Right.
And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest problem is our reaction. When we see something and when we react to it, that is when it
Mm-hmm.
actually comes and touches us. Otherwise, it does not.
I love that. That's good.
So I try my best
Mm-hmm.
to do that, and especially with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of negative things. And also, I try my level best when something really good, or I'm getting some accolade, or there's some applause, or there's something that is going on, that has every probability to boost my ego, and suddenly I think that
Right.
I'm the king of the world. I try my level best, and then I keep on saying he's the doer
Right.
and he's the enjoyer. So, and that's a test, actually.
Yes.
That's a test. I take it as a
Yeah.
test. He's testing me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see
Right.
whether Shubhapati falls into the trap.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
you are the doer, you are the enjoyer. So, how does it matter to me if
Mm-hmm.
somebody claps, or somebody does this, or does that?
Mm-hmm. I
So
like
it
that.
doesn't make, it should not make any
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Right.
But it's very
Yeah.
essential. We should meditate every day, because meditation is actually, it cleanses our system, our inner system. It
Mm-hmm.
nourishes our
Mm-hmm.
plexuses, our entire
Mm-hmm.
nervous system. It is nourished.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at the best of shape. Like every day when we get up in the morning, when we go to work, we take a iron shirt, an iron pant, freshly washed and
Mm-hmm.
ironed dress. So we should be
Mm-hmm.
like that
Mm-hmm.
every day when we are applying, and we are applying ourselves every moment, not only when we are working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we are probably buying a hot dog across a stall, and I'm hungry and I'm buying a hot dog,
Right.
and when we have that smile on the face and say thank you so much. Or maybe,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stores, you see a name tag on a lot of people's faces. This is
Right.
actually a habit that I've grown over the decades. And no matter what be the situation, I always speak the name out.
Mm.
And if it's an elderly person, no matter if that person is serving or no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
I make it sure that I just cannot talk, because in India we don't call elderly people by name. It's a custom. So I prefer myself saying
Oh,
sir.
I see.
I
Okay.
probably, if I'm referring to sir, excuse me sir, can I have a glass of water? And if that's a
Mm-hmm.
young guy, I can see the name tag there on. So I call that person
Mm-hmm.
by the name. So these are small things that, see, nobody is asking us to, give all our wealth, all our money, everything.
Right, right,
Only basically what we can do is, if we can just make people feel good.
right.
It makes that other person think that, why don't I make somebody feel good? And then that other
Mm-hmm.
person would think, why don't I make somebody feel good? Because when he made me feel good, I really felt so nice.
Right.
So what is this guy getting? Because he paid for a hot dog and he took his hot dog and he went off. But he made me feel good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let me do the same thing with somebody else.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
these are very, very
Good point.
small things, that
Mm-hmm.
changes the way we live, that changes our circle, it changes our family, our society, or a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I try to make sure is, okay, I'll use this word. A lot of maximum times, things that irritate us are things that do not go according to our expectations.
Right.
Now, a very simple question: who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it going to go according to my expectation? Why is
Mm-hmm.
somebody going to behave according to my expectation?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I look at from that person's point of view, that person is doing right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because if I
Right.
think it's wrong, it doesn't mean that that person is wrong. If that person is right from his own or her own perspective, I am right from my own
Right.
perspective.
Right. Right.
So the very question, expecting doesn't make sense. What we can actually do is, just we can be within ourselves. We can be within
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, so that the way we are creates a situation for the person in front to behave in a manner that that person should think suits this particular situation. I hope I'm making myself understandable
That
in what I
makes
mean. Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
maybe the way I am speaking to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
that person doesn't have a reason to misbehave or say something which is obnoxious.
Right.
And if anything goes wrong, honestly, okay, this is a very funny sentence. I remember her name was Mrs. Alice Fraser. She was my class teacher when I was in class two,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a big that. So, can you hear me? Yeah. So
Yeah. You
she's
kind of broke up for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
what I
So
was
go
saying
ahead.
is, Mrs. Fraser used to say that, when we used to say, Miss, the pencil got lost, the pen got lost, the rubber got, because as kids we used to keep on losing things. So,
Right, right.
so Mrs. Fraser used to tell us, you lost it. It did not get lost. It doesn't have legs.
Right.
So I remembered that, and then I have understood one thing. Things go wrong with me because there must have been something wrong that I did. Maybe a decision, maybe anything, a choice.
Mm.
So, let me stop
Mm-hmm.
blaming what is in front of me. Let me get sorted out at my point.
Right.
Let me get sorted first.
Mm-hmm.
So once I
Mm-hmm.
am sorted, so I'm more in the
Mm-hmm.
inner, so everything gets sorted out, and I'm much more in control of things. I'm way more
Mm-hmm.
in control of things.
Mm-hmm. I love that personal accountability, because
Yeah.
we have to condition ourselves to take that time to reflect and ask those questions. It's so much easier to blame somebody or the circumstance instead
Yes,
of recognizing what role we play in that. That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
that's right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I have really enjoyed this
Me
conversation.
too, Lachelle.
In spite of the technical difficulties, I
Yes.
still have lots of notes.
Yeah,
It's a
we
blessing.
getting connected from two different accounts.
Yes, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Now, so what are some closing words first of all, how do we get a hold of you for, if anybody wants some of your consulting, for business or anything, what would be the best way to get a hold of you?
They can get in touch with me on my LinkedIn. Uh,
Okay.
I'm available on LinkedIn. My first name is very unique, Subhopati, and that my email is shubhapati@nistulagroup.com. I am always
Okay.
available on my email, and of course, my LinkedIn is always on. I'm
Okay.
always there on LinkedIn, so anybody can connect with me, and even anybody wants with me on LinkedIn. My social note, so I'm not so active on Facebook per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there definitely on LinkedIn. So anybody can get in touch with me there.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then, so
And
what are the
I just
closing
want to,
words
and
you
I
want to share?
just want to say, the group of people that we are in this very small world, we are
Mm-hmm.
extremely wonderful people, and each one of us have our own beauties in place. And
Mm-hmm.
let's just figure out I think it's time that we figure out how beautiful, how wonderful we are, and let us work on that. So each one for our
Right.
own, and the world will become a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
place. And as I want to close with what Shrimati said once, that one day this
Mm-hmm.
world will be a beautiful place with beautiful people all around, no troublesome forces, and this will be a kingdom of God one day. So
Wow.
that's all I desire, and let's all of us desire for that. And
Mm-hmm.
he is right there. He's right inside. Let's get connected.
Right.
Let's enjoy life. Let's make him happy, and we'll be overjoyed. If he's happy, then
I
we are
love that.
overjoyed. So that's what
Yeah.
everything about it.
Well, I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you were able to connect today.
Yeah.
And for those of you guys that are watching, we just want to thank you for your time. You're overseas in the Philippines, and the fact that we're able to get this message, just in spite of the international barriers. I just think that's awesome. So, again, just thank you so much. And you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Lachelle, and thank you, Lachelle, for giving me this opportunity to share whatever I could, whatever
Mm-hmm.
little knowledge I have, I could share with you. I really, really thank you, and I also want to thank you for these shows that you keep on having.
Oh,
I see these shows and I see the wonderful messages that you share across. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you are a chosen one. You are doing a great job, and I really, really thankful to you for doing that. Thank a
Oh.
very, very big thank you to you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm glad that our paths crossed, because, you're able to help me on my journey. So it's just a blessing. Yeah.
Yes, looking
Well, I
forward to catching up
appreciate it.
more in future, and of course, anytime you have a session or something that you want me to come in and just discuss the meditation, I'll be more than happy.
Absolutely.
I'll be more than happy. And
Absolutely.
don't worry about the time, the clock or anything. You just let me know. And I just hope I have
Okay.
internet. That's it. Otherwise, there's nothing to
I know.
worry. It doesn't matter.
I know that's right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah. Well, we are really appreciative this morning, and we know it's evening for you,
Yeah,
and you are welcome anytime. And just thank you so much for your insight.
you're welcome, and thank you so much as well.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
That was just a wonderful talk, you guys. It got a little broken up with different things, but go back and listen to this. There were some great points and so much that we can. At one point, he said that meditation, just taking a few minutes, 10, 15 seconds, can have instant results. So, thinking about, when you have these opportunities to share, you're able to hear from somebody else and you begin to figure out what's best for you. But just taking that opportunity to kind of self reflect and think about how can I make my life better? Everyone listens to other people and sometimes we compare and contrast and things like that. But just taking the time to kind of self reflect, that's important. So, some of these things that I share, they may or may not resonate with you, and that's okay. But it's just the opportunity of asking certain questions. I know one of the things he's saying, who am I? And what is my expectation? Recognizing that a lot of times we're talking from our own perspective. Are we even considering the other person? Are we giving them the opportunity to think for themselves? I know this is something that I need to remember with being a mother with my kids. I'm thinking from my perspective, hey, I want them to do A, B, or C, but what are they thinking? What do they want to accomplish? So this is just a good opportunity, just a good reminder to recognize that when we talk and have these Facebook Lives, that we're able to get a different perspective. It kind of settles us down, stops the noise for 5, 10, sometimes an hour, which is what we went through today. But just the opportunity to realize that we have to have that time of reflection. We have to also be responsible for the decisions we make. A lot of times it's easier to blame somebody, blame your kids, blame your job, but really taking that time to reflect and think about what am I doing in this scenario? Thank you again. We are so glad that you were able to join us this morning. He's telling us thank you, and it's just a blessing. I love the fact that we're able to cross international barriers. He's in the Philippines, I'm here in the U.S. and Georgia, and just the opportunity for us to share and recognize that we all have value. I love how he closed and said that we're all wonderful people. We have beautiful work. With us being who we are and being able to fulfill the destiny that we have for ourselves. And once we're able to do that, we can make the world a better place because we're improving ourselves and recognizing we're the only people we really need to be responsible for is ourselves, our mindset, our thinking, the negativity. We can choose to respond or not respond. It doesn't affect you if you don't take part in it. For me, I've kind of told myself that it doesn't even exist. If I see negative things on social media feeds, I just scroll past them. I don't comment. I don't even acknowledge that it exists. And it has made my days a lot more peaceful. It's not that the negativity is not out there, but whatever you choose to involve yourself in, you create it and make it real. You allow it to grow based on the attention you give it. So I just don't give it any attention. So I thought that was a great point. So lots of nuggets that we were able to cover today. When you have time, this was longer than we anticipated, but it was great information. Just having a perspective from another person, another gender, from a male's perspective. Just different things that we can learn from one another. So I want to thank you guys again for watching. May you have a wonderful Tuesday that is productive. And remember that you are wonderful just the way you are. So focus on the positivity, not the negativity. Just let it go, ignore it, and you'll feel a lot better. So thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a good day. Bye.